Reaction of metal. Write on this. Reaction of metals with dilute HNO3. Nitric acid. Correct. Here, write down hydrogen. Write this.
What is HNO2?
You write down this one, afterwards we'll discuss. It's an ion, then it's not an acid. Okay. Nitrogen dioxide, nitrogen monoxide. NO is monoxide. Like that. So acids, when metals react with the acid, hydrogen gas is produced. But with nitric acid means HNO3. What happens to HNO3? When a metal reacts with HNO3, we will get salt. Plus, we should get the hydrogen, right? But we don't get the hydrogen, we will get water. Why? Because it is an reducing agent, that is HNO3 reduces to either NO or N2O. Okay, NO or N2O. That means one oxygen in the HNO3, it is given to the hydrogen, or oxygen in the HNO3 combines with the hydrogen and it forms water. So we will get salt plus water plus either nitrogen monoxide or nitrogen dioxide, like that we will get NO or N2O. Huh? HNO3. here you have three oxygen, no? In this, what happens? Metal forms a salt plus hydrogen is released, right? That hydrogen reacts with the oxygen. So it forms water. It reduces to NO or N2O like that. But only exception is when it is reacting with magnesium or manganese. Magnesium or manganese, we get salt plus hydrogen. It is the exception what we see. This very important. They ask questions in regarding this. With magnesium and manganese, it is an exception. When it reacts with the nitric acid, they form salt plus hydrogen only. Okay. Next, write down this the reaction between metals and non-metals. Between metals and non-metals. Metals and non-metals. Neutralization reaction. Not always.
Exceptions are beauty of chemistry. Great words of someone.
Okay, listen here now. How metals react with non-metals. For example, sodium plus chlorine. Sodium is a metal, chlorine is a non-metal. When they react, they form NaCl. And here, ionic bond is formed. Okay. So whenever we say that a chemical reaction is formed, right? How a chemical reaction is formed? Whenever there is a bond being formed between the elements or the compounds, then we say that there is a chemical reaction. That is, whenever there are two types of bond is formed. One is the ionic bond, second one is the covalent bond. Again, I repeat, see, when we say a chemical reaction is formed, when a bond is formed between the compounds or between the elements or between the substance, then we say that there is a chemical reaction. See, for example, listen here, when hydrogen combines with the oxygen, water is formed. There we say chemical reaction is there. For example, if I put sugar to the water, still it is dissolved, it is mixed, but we don't say it's a chemical reaction, right? Why? Because there is no bond is formed between the sugar and the water. It has been just dissolved. So there is a change, correct? Here, there, and the chemical formation is there. So when we say chemically it has bound together or there is a chemical reaction, when a bond is formed between the compounds or the substances or the elements, there we say it is a chemical reaction. So how a bond is formed? There are two types of bonds. One is an ionic bond, second one is a covalent bond. This is very important. Chemistry, this is the key things from where you should learn, okay, chemistry things. Ionic bond and the covalent bond. So, ionic bond is formed when electrons, some will give the electron and the other will take the electron, then an ionic bond is formed. Okay, ionic bond is formed when one is giving the electron, one or two, the other is taking the electron, one or two, then ionic bond is formed. Okay, and always we study that any chemical reaction, it is the electrons which takes place, correct? Protons and neutrons are inside the nucleus, so they don't take part in chemical reaction. Only the electrons will take part in the chemical reaction. Okay. So, and which electrons? The valence electrons. What does mean valence electrons? In the outermost orbit electrons. So how you tell the valency? How many electrons it is taking part in the chemical reaction? That is only the valency. So what is valency? We studied that how many electrons will take part in the chemical reaction. That only we call it as valency. Okay. So ionic bond means ionic bond is one will be giving the electron, other will be taking the electron, then we call it as ionic bond is formed. For example, you have two chocolates, you give one to your friend. You are not taking it back. You are giving one to your friend. So you are giving and the other friend is taking that. Correct? So there is a friendship between you and your friend. Similarly, here also, ionic bond means one will be giving the electron and the other will take the electron. That we call it as an ionic bond. Example, sodium and chlorine, you will get sodium chloride. What is sodium chloride? Lakshit, what is sodium chloride? Common salt is the sodium chloride. What we use daily? Huh?
Can we eat it?
That only what we are eating now, table salt or any salt.
Then if we evaporate water in liquid,
Covalent I have not explained. I'll explain. Wait. Ionic bond.
yeah, I heard it.
Covalent, it is sharing of electrons. I'll come there. Wait. Ionic bond. See here in sodium. Listen this. Sodium it is 11 electrons. In chlorine it is 17. Correct? No. So 11 means what? Sodium. What happens? It is 2, 8, and 1. Chlorine 2, 8, and 7. Okay, so it always wanted to make the octet rule. That is, it has to fill 8 electrons in the outermost orbit to make it stable. So, sodium will give 1 electron to chlorine. Now, what happens? It will become Na2,8 and sodium will become positive ion. Why? Number of protons is same only, 11 only, but electrons, it has become less. 10. So total it will become positive plus 1. That's why it is Na plus. What happens to chlorine? It will take 1. So it is 2, 8, and 8. Here, total number of electrons in chlorine.
8, 8, 7.
8,
7.
If it takes 1, it becomes 8, no? 7. Correct, na? 8. That's what. Now, here it with protons is 17 only here. Electrons will become 18. So total it is minus 1. That's why it will become negative. Cl-. So here a bond is formed that we call it as ionic bond. So in metals and non-metals, usually metals will have the tendency to give electrons, whereas non-metals will have a tendency to gain electrons. We studied electropositive and electronegative, no? That only. Is that exchange? One is one is giving, other is taking. That's what. So, so magnesium chloride. Listen here, magnesium chloride. Magnesium in the outermost orbit, it will have 2. Okay. See, listen this. In magnesium chloride, how it is formed? MgCl2. In the outermost orbit, magnesium have 2 electrons, whereas chlorine will have shortage of 1. So it will bond with 2 chlorine. That is magnesium chloride. Magnesium will give 1 electron to 1 chlorine and the other electron to the another chlorine. So when you see in the microscope also, it would have been like this bond. MgCl2. 2 atoms only. Atoms. Chlorine has electrons only will be exchanged. No. Not always one. Another magnesium have 2 extra electrons. Chlorine will take only 1. What happened to the other? It has to give another one so that it should become stable. There's only one atom in the atom. No, not always. 1. It depends. See, every atom want to make its octet rule. Okay. In magnesium, in the outermost orbit, it has 2 electrons. No, because it has 2 atoms, MgCl2. Not because you have 2 atoms of chlorine. It is giving 1 electron to 1 chlorine and the second electron to second chlorine atom. It is giving, that's why only MgCl2. So the bond formed is like this. Listen, no? Why you people are talking? Hmm? Okay, understood. It's how it reacts. So usually metals and non-metals they form ionic bond because metals will have a tendency to give the electron and non-metals will have a tendency to gain electron. Okay. So when in magnesium chloride, magnesium has in the outermost orbit two electrons. So if it gives two, it satisfies octet rule. So it is ready to give two electrons. But one chlorine atom will take only one electron. What about the other? So it gives to the another chlorine atom. So it forms MgCl2. Okay, so how you write the bonding here? Mg2 plus and Cl minus, you have 2 chlorine like this they will write. Magnesium.
They usually write less than this. They don't write balance. They don't write balance. They only write less than.
No, Mg you see 2 plus only it will be there.
My school teacher.
See here also is there, see? No, textbook open, see, open and see. It is there. Mg2 plus and Cl minus 2 electrons like this. Okay, understood now? Like this it happens.
66.
It will be this. Clear? This ionic bond. Shall I explain what's covalent bond? Anyway, carbon and compounds is there. Okay, this is clear. Shall I clear this? Very important. Not everyone will tell. I'm really telling these things. They will not tell everyone. Once you listen, you feel easier. But that only. Ionic compound is a compound that is formed by ionic bond.
Then what is covalent?
So covalent is different.
This is the ionic compound.
Compounds formed by ionic bond. They are called ionic compounds. Okay. Covalent bond is different. Listen here. Covalent bond is sharing of the electrons. Okay.
So
No,
that's
it's not. Wait.
So what
For
example is covalent.
Ionic compounds. Ionic compounds formed by ionic bond are called ionic compounds. Okay. Covalent bonds, for example, you have the color pencil, sting. You have 6 colors, different colors. Your friend has other different 6 colors. Okay. So altogether you need all the colors. So what you will do, whenever your friend needs some color which you have, you will give it. Correct? She will color and she will give it back. Correct? Similarly, whenever she wants, you want the one color from her, you will take that color and you will give back. That's a sharing. Nothing is really. No, that's what, just giving an example. It is sharing of the electrons. So that is sharing, right? Similarly, covalent bonds means it is sharing of the electrons. For example, listen here. Carbon, it has the valency of 4. Carbon valency is 4. Okay. So it cannot give all the 4 or it cannot take all 4 because it needs lot of energy for that. To bind all extra 4 electrons or to give 4 electrons, it needs more energy. So what it will do, it will share the electrons. For example, CH4, methane compound is there. What happens? One carbon forms a bond with one hydrogen. Each hydrogen, it forms a bond. That means that electron of the carbon will be, see, the electron of the carbon will be rotating even with the hydrogen and also with the carbon. That sharing of the electrons means that electron will be rotating around the carbon always and also with the hydrogen.
And ionic, how does it rotate?
It will not rotate, it will just give that electron. Electrons, extra one electron will be with the atom. Here it is not like that. Okay. Covalent bond means It is sharing of the electrons. That means that electrons will be revolving around the atom, right? Around the nucleus. That electron of the carbon will be rotating in with the hydrogen and also with the carbon. Like that. Not fused together. Electron only will be revolving both together. It happens like that.
It won't take place in reaction.
What I'm asking, the rotation sequence is something is village rotating.
See, one carbon is there. Okay, one carbon is there. It has 4 electrons around it, outermost orbits. Okay, one hydrogen is there. That hydrogen also has only 1 electron mass. So it also requires 2 to fill inside, no? So these 2 electrons will be rotating with the hydrogen. And for this carbon, this also will be rotating.
So they won't care. But these electrons.
They will be rotating for both carbon and hydrogen. It's like that.
This
Like that it happens. Okay, that is sharing of electrons. And their bond formed, we call it as covalent bonds. And compound formed by that, we call it as covalent bonds. Okay. That is like that. Okay. Even in carbon and compounds, once again I will explain. Write down now.
One doubt and another one. See, NaCl, so they form, so the electrons rotate around Na, electrons rotate on the other level. Cl rotates on the around him, but in CH4 they rotate around both.
Like that.
Stay.
Yeah, correct. That is, understood, no? Sodium, here in 11, 10, what happens? In 11, 1 it will give it off. No, now only 10 will be with sodium. For chlorine, now it will become 80.
So this is just to make it stable. Like, so much for covalent.
Covalent, yeah, stable because not to explain.
Sensing that it wants to favor
It only will be rotating even in the carbon. Yeah, instead of fully giving or taking, it will be for both. It will be rotating. Like that's there also 8 will form. Total 8 will be there. That's even there it will be.
Basically, the shells fuse, like the tail and the shells, they come together.
Only outermost orbit. Not about the inner electrons. It will be like that only. Only the outermost orbit electrons they.
About the carbon, which is the last shell for carbon.
Second.
So it's L for carbon, but it's K for hydrogen. So how does that work?
It rotates like that. Yeah, it rotates actually. In the, that rotation also they have p orbit dumbbell shape rotation. How electrons will rotate for 2, that is there in other extra, not in 10. It is there. In which direction they go and all that is there. That's how it works actually. When we do again carbon and compounds, again I will explain covalent bonds. Maybe you will understand. But whatever I'm telling is correct. That's how it works. Okay. Write down now. They will ask about listen. They will ask about ionic bonds, structure, everything. They will ask. Okay. Write down now. So when metals and non-metals react, when metals and non-metals react, so metals usually will be giving the electrons and non-metals will be taking the electrons. Here completely electrons are transferred from one atom to another atom. There a bond is formed. That bond they call it as ionic bond. The compound formed by the ionic bond is called ionic compound. So usually metals or non-metals where it is combined, we will see the ionic bond. And the ionic bond are strong bonds. They are strong bonds.
But how do you know that it's from
by its melting point, boiling point. If you want to melt that, if it takes more time, what does it mean? Strong.
But
Like,
it would be easy to divide electrolysis.
that is by different process. No?
So chemical process are basically take less efforts to separate this physical process.
Chemical process, I don't know.
Chemical process of separating
Huh.
is actually more efficient than the
In physical process, correct.
events.
Then written. What you people are discussing from that time? Huh? Then everyone, all these questions they will ask in the exam about ionic bonds and everything. Okay. This is called ionic bond. Right. The bond formed is called ionic bond. Write down this. The bond formed is called ionic bond. Compound formed by ionic bond. Ionic bond is called ionic compound. Ionic compound. Huh. Write down. Example: sodium tends to give an Na plus, 1 electron minus, chlorine plus 1 electron, it forms Cl minus. So what happens when sodium combines with chlorine? You will get Na plus Cl minus. Okay. Huh. That's what I told. Better you go get up. Good. You'll not understand. That's why I'm telling.
It was because of a great.
Be quiet now. We have. You want to go out? Be quiet.
NaCl also Na plus Cl forms Na plus Cl.
Huh.
Being third equation.
Na plus Cl. Huh. Forms Na plus Cl minus. Na. How to NaCl only? How what and all is formed? Or you want you write? You write. Okay. You can write. I'll write. This we call it as electron dot structure. Okay, that is sodium, one outermost electron is there. Chlorine, you have 7. Okay, when they combine, in the outermost orbit 1 it is given out, so it becomes plus Na plus. And in chlorine 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 will form, and it forms negative. like this.
That is a scratch, no? And it is
It's not there. Na plus Cl.
Electrons represented by X and some by dot.
You can represent anything, but see, one by dot and one by cross, it is easier to identify. That's all. This they ask. This is important. Electron dot structures. They will ask for magnesium chloride, like that. They will ask. Hmm?
Electron dot structure.
Hmm.
I don't understand this. This electron was in the X and Y.
See, it will tell from how electrons are moving like that. That is the reason. In sodium, in outermost orbit, we have one electron. In chlorine, we have 7 electrons. 2, 4, 6, 7.
When you translate for the earlier expression.
Huh? Magnesium chloride. How magnesium chloride is formed? Magnesium, first it gives out 2 electrons. Okay, chlorine, it will take 1, right? So, magnesium has 2 outermost electrons. Chlorine, 2 chlorine are there. Write down.
Where will the other electron?
2 chlorine, na? It will give 1 for each chlorine. That's why here we write 2. Then write down about properties of ionic bonds. Ionic compounds. Write down properties of the ionic compounds. Physical nature. Write down this fast. Huh? Helium. Suppose it is an what do you call it? Noble gas. Noble gas. Because helium has 2, it is filled with 2. So since it is already stable, it will not take. So it's neon, argon, helium, all these. They don't react. It's because
We took that other side.
write down ionic compounds are hard crystalline solids because of strong forces of attraction. Because of strong force of attraction. between the solids. Between the So, what are the properties of the antiphotons? Since the force of attraction between the negative ion and the positive ions, it is there, right? So, they have high melting and boiling point, and they have hard crystalline structure. Okay. Last 2 points, write down. It's done. This is solubility. Write down the solubility. Will come back. Wait 1 second. They're soluble in water and they are insoluble in organic solvents. In organic solvents. Okay. Organic solvents like kerosene, benzene. Okay. Next, conduction of electricity. Next, conduction of electricity. Ionic compounds conduct electricity keep it in silent now. Ionic compounds conduct electricity in molten state. Molten state. Or in the aqueous solution. Or in the aqueous solution. What do you mean by this?
Water solution.
Hmm? they conduct electricity in molten state or in aqueous solution. What do you mean by that? Why they will conduct in molten state or aqueous solution?
Because they can move easily.
Because they become the ions there. Okay. Electricity, how it is conducted either by free electrons or the ions. When they move, they conduct electricity, right? So in the molten state also, they will become ions. That is Na plus Cl minus, for example. In an aqueous solution, when it dissolves in aqueous solution means what? It is dissolved in the water. Then also they will become ions. And whenever the ions are there, they conduct electricity. Here we will end the today's class. Do not forget to subscribe the channel. If the content of this channel is useful, please like the video and share with your friends. Thank you.